Hi guys, it's Ray here from City Fan TV. Oh, you've not been waiting too long, Danny. Didn't know if I was live. Was I live? Shouldn't have been. I'd set up the stream and normally have a few minutes just to do a bit of tidying up and stuff before I go live. I hope you're well, Danny. And yeah, I was just doing some of the stuff that I normally do in the background, just after I go on live and put stuff on Twitter. Hey, Dunk, hope you're well. So I was just tidying up stuff so that when I came online, Aaron, I'm alive now. I don't know what's going on with this. You get worried sometimes. You get worried that you just sat there picking your nose and you're live. But thankfully, it's not something I tend to do. Let's just stick it out on Twitter, which is what I was setting up, just so I can just go in there and go pop, paste onto Twitter. And see if I get a few people following me. I don't think there's going to be that many. I've had a bit of fun on Twitter the last yesterday. I might tell you about that later. Hope you guys are well. Hope you guys are getting by, I think, as best you can during the situation we're in at the moment. Let's have a look who's online. Thomas Karakatsai. How you doing, Thomas? I'm all right. I could do with a bit of exercise, but that's coming. That's coming this week. I'm okay. Bit slow, my laptop. Sorry, guys. It's getting caned, basically. Memory's going down, speed's going down. I think I need a new. Let me just pick up some stuff, reject that, and save. Just yeah, I'm going to go through. Tell you what we're going to do to start with. I'm going to go through on this day. I'm going to do on yesterday as well because I missed yesterday's out, and Cole had made that already. So I will go through yesterday and today to keep you up to date with things that have gone on in years gone past with Man City. We're going to talk about Leroy Sané. We're going to talk about Cancelo. And that's Sonche. Oh, I'm going to get this wrong. Sonche Hansen. Sonche. Best I can say, it's kid from Ajax who wants to play, who said he'd love to play for City, something like that. And he's been following us for a while. Yes, we'll talk about him. And obviously, I'm going to start off. Just, I'm going to talk about the Newcastle takeover as well. But I'm going to start off. Hi, Vidya. Hi, Angus. Hope you're well. Yeah, Thomas, it's not a good situation all over the world. But what I'm going to have to do, I'm going to start off today by saying, look, I went to, I've said this before, but I went to university in Liverpool. And it's 2 days a year that we don't make fun of other fans from two different clubs. One is the 6th of February. On the 6th of February, that was the Munich air disaster, 6th of February 1958, where Munich airport, the Man United football team, they're on the plane and they crashed. 20 of the 44 people on the aircraft died. And then I think 3 more died later, and once were taken to hospital. And so on the 6th of February, the genuine, honest, decent people, you don't make fun of Man United. The other 364 days a year, go ahead, make fun of Man United. Christmas Day, make fun of Man United. Whatever the day is, make fun of Man United, no problem. But there's another day, and that's today. Today's the anniversary. It's not the nice thing to say. 31 years ago, I've got to talk about it. It was the Hillsborough Disaster. Now, and I'm going to do this before on the day. I've got to, talk about the Hillsborough Disaster. And look, I was in Liverpool at the time, as I said. I was a student in my final year. Was it my final year? Second year of my 3-year maths degree. And the Hillsborough disaster happened 15th of April, 1989, and it devastated. Honestly, it really did devastate the city. And I still, 31 years later, still feel some of that impact. You know, it's still with me because of what happened in Sheffield that day, and what happened to the city that I loved. I loved being in Liverpool. You know, the combination is my first time really away from home. I'd gone to university. I had a fabulous time in Liverpool. You know, a superb time. But this, you know, the Hillsborough disaster obviously clouded everything, and you know, it was really bad for a long time. You know, it didn't matter that they were Liverpool fans, and I used to go and watch them play now and again at Anfield, the same as I went to watch Everton play as well a few times. And yeah, it really was, as I said, it's disaster. And you know, football fans shouldn't go to football matches and not come home, especially in the number that, you know, sadly died. 96 people died there, in all intents and purposes. I think, you know, you might have had some who died in hospital. I think there's one, I forgot his name now, he died a few years later. He was in a coma. But basically 96 people died because of Hillsborough. It's the worst worst disaster in British supporting history. 94 died on the day. Another one died a few days later in hospital. I'm just looking. The last victim, he was in a persistent vegetative state, and he died in 1993. And sadly, you know, with the passage of time, I've forgotten his name, and apologise for that. And we had a lot of things with the newspapers, and one of the reasons people despise the Sun on Merseyside, absolutely abhor them, is what they reported after Hillsborough, and what they reported that the Liverpool fans were doing to the police, and doing to the victims, stealing their wallets. It was despicable, absolutely despicable from the Sun. And you know, it's a good enough reason for people on Merseyside to, even to this day, over 30 years later, boycott the Sun, boycott talks, because they're part of the same empire. Good enough reason to boycott Sky, the Times. They're all in it together, owned by Murdoch. And you know, I mean, personally, you don't really want anything to do with them. So we've got to remember today, you know, it's a really, really sad day. Football. Yeah, that's it, Angus. I never forget the 96. Never buy the Sun. So that's why it's important to remember the 15th of April. Okay, let's go through this day for City. We can talk long enough about other stuff. On this day, in 1970, City beat Schalke 5-1. We progressed to the European Cup Winners' Cup final, 5-2. On aggregate, I think we won the final, didn't we? Beat that Polish team 2-1. Gornik. Okay, now, as promised, I will tell you what happened yesterday. Let's pick it up, and then I'll bring back to this. So yesterday, on the 14th of April, in 1964, Bert Trautmann's testimonial is played at Main Road, and almost 48,000 fans turned up. A City and United combined team beat an all-star international 11, 5-4. Absolutely, Angus, Neil Young. So let's slip it back onto the 15th, because if anybody comes on now and says, "Oh, you got the wrong date," so let's go back to this. Let's go back to up to date. So what we're going to talk about? Okay, let's get through. So we talked about Hillsborough. We are going to talk briefly about Leroy Sané. So let's get on to Leroy Sané. Now, the Leroy Sané saga has been going on for well over a season. He didn't sign a new contract. We were expecting him to go to Bayern Munich in the transfer window. He played in the Community Shield. He got injured, cruciate ligament injury, out for 6 months because he's not come back. That was August. And by middle March, he wasn't ready to play. So 6-7 months injury. So yeah, we know he was a target for Bayern Munich, and he wasn't signing that City contract. And he changed his agents. He's got his new agent is called Demir Smoljan. And the new agent it looks like they just want money. That's it, money. Now, we knew that Bayern Munich wanted him. Now, I think what they're doing is probably hardballing Bayern Munich, because what he said is, together with him, we talk with Manchester City about what the next step could look like. That's what he told German publication Bild. He said the interest of FC Bayern is no secret, but other top clubs also contacted us about Leroy. So my belief is, whether that's true or not, we don't know. Obviously, if you throw it out there to say that this other guy, or the other club, you don't have to mention my name. Just say other clubs are interested in Leroy, and you can, if you want, pass it off to a journalist friend who lets it be known that. And this could just totally be made up. Liverpool are interested, or Real Madrid are interested, or Juventus are interested, or Barcelona are interested. And the whole purpose of that is possibly to push up the wages that Leroy could command from Bayern Munich, and to push up the signing on fee that Leroy could command from Bayern Munich, and to push up the agent's fees, basically, so the agent can make more money. And that's basically it. It's a load of rubbish. Next story, Joao Cancelo. He's had a tough time at City, if truth be told. We were at one stage thinking he might even leave in January, which that's paper talk. It was extremely unlikely, even if he wanted to, because we didn't have the cover. But he was hardly playing, and he's only started 8 Premier League games out of, I think we played 28. Kyle Walker's been the number one. And the MENT, he chose to stick around in January. I don't think we'd have let him go unless we could have got a replacement. It's the wrong time to sell somebody when he's the only backup you've really got. So apparently, Guardiola sent a clear message, which future. Pep said, "We are here to help him." He's urged the defender to be himself, open-minded, listen, try to do his best. He said, "The normal things I want for all the players. It depends on him. I can suggest, but the players have to decide the rest." Now, forgive me. Don't forgive me. That's been reported in the MEN today. I'm just double-checking. And it is today, because I pulled it up today. It's today by Tom Victor at 6:57. Thing is, that sounds like what Pepper would have said earlier in the season. Now, I'm not saying Tom, I don't know, but his mother died last week. I'd be really, really, really surprised if he's talking football again so soon and talking about Joao Cancelo. And that statement looks like a statement that I've heard something very similar before from Pep. I just don't know. Honestly, I just can't understand why Pep would be there talking footy and where he said this, because they've not said where they've got these comments from. Was he speaking? Where was he? Was he speaking to a newspaper? Where was he speaking? Who was he speaking to? It certainly wasn't the MEN, by the looks of things. So I'm just trying to see if they put anything up about his future. Let's have a look. I'm just going through the MEN article, and I just can't see it. I'm just reading it again. I can't see where they've got this story from. The Leroy Sané one, obviously, they got it from Bild. So they quote Bild, give them the credit that's where we got the story from. But this one, there's nothing. I just find that hard to believe that, a week. Let's not go there. It just sounds far-fetched to me. I will ask the question on social media. Last one. Apparently, City have been scouting a 17-year-old kid from Ajax called Sané Hansen. Okay, now this is a report in The Guardian. It says City are scouting him with the move to sign him in the summer. Now, he's been with Ajax for 7 years in their youth setup as a kid. He was with HSV Sport, Zwaluwen, and always forward. I suspect, like me, none of you have heard of any of them. Anyway, he signed for Ajax. He's done well in his youth career in the under-17s. He's got 8 goals and set up 2 in 23 appearances. That was a couple of seasons back. And last season, he was promoted to the under-19, so I think that's 1 year ahead of where he should be. He was only 16, so he's done really well to get that promotion. And he scored 11 goals, 11 assists in 32 games. It's really nice, 22 goals and assists in 32 games for a 16-year-old playing 3 years above him. Okay, last season, he's still only 17, 7 goals, 6 assists. Okay, it would have been 16 when he started the season, surely. Anyway, 16 and 17. And he made his senior debut for Ajax, played twice for the first team, only 13 minutes, but he's been there. So apparently, I'm just looking at, there were some comments from this kid. Now, he won the Golden Boot at the Under-17s FIFA World Cup in Brazil with 6 goals in the tournament. If you remember, we got the Brazilian captain from that tournament. Jan Couto, his name is, right back. So we'd get another key player for that. And he played in the Under-17s European Championship triumphs last year for Holland as well, for the Netherlands. Excuse me. So yeah, he's going to have potential. Yeah. Now I read somewhere that he apparently said, he's followed City for a while, and since he was a kid, and he'd like to play for us basically. And I said, I think last year I said this. I've said it a few times that it's going to be amazing that we're getting, as I said, kids still, usually because of their parents, up till recently, have been interested in Liverpool and going to Liverpool because they that's on Liverpool and whatever. And it's only until recently that Liverpool are coming back into favour, winning the Champions League last season. And I said it years back, actually, that there'll come a time when kids will grow up only knowing Manchester City's success. Now, if you're 15 years old, any thoughts of football? And this kid's 17, so when you're a little kid, 7, 8, 9 years old, you start hearing about Man City. In his case, when you're when we won the league in 2012, look all over the world. I'll say hundreds of millions of people saw the Aguero moment or have seen it since. That was in 2012. That was 9 years ago. We're in 2020 now. Sorry, 8 years ago. This kid would have been 9. So when you ideas are going around in your head about who you're going to support and all that, you'd probably support a club in your own country, but you'd be watching other stuff as well. So City would be on the horizon. So as I've said it was going to come a time where kids are growing up supporting City, wanting to play for Manchester City. It's, so this kid apparently has said something like that as well. So it's very interesting. Hi, Faris. Hope you're well. Hi, Catherine. Hope you're well as well. Hey, take care, Angus. Don't know where that's coming from. Our best plans to get Tottenham, because we're really talking about. I think we've already talked about Hillsborough, Sané, Cancelo, and this kid, this Dutch kid. Anyway, so I'm not going to say it. Sané Hansen. That's without even looking at my notes. Sané Hansen. The last thing I've got, I think, on my agenda for tonight was to consider this Newcastle takeover. Now, it looks like some papers have been lodged at Companies House. Apparently, I read something briefly on Twitter tonight and a deal looks like it might be going ahead. I'll be surprised if it's the full 300 million that Mike Ashley wants, because in this turbulent economic climate, I think valuations and incomes are gonna drop. You know, you're hearing lots of businesses going out of business, they're going under, and the economy is due to shrink by a double-digit percentage, which is an amazing amount. We're talking serious shrinkage of the economies all over the world. So I'll be surprised if transfer fees are what they were in the past, and advertising and sponsorship is what it was, because people are going to have to tighten the belt. Very early on in this in the lockdown, I remember Adidas put some. I remember because I bought some stuff from them. They had a sale, 50% sale, some good stuff. And the thing is, and since then, they've also put another. I saw the other day another sale, another 25 plus another 25% off, so you get another 50% off stuff. So companies want money, and so I'm surprised it'll be for 300. And I'm also, Newcastle fans, it's going to be interesting to see what some of the outspoken ones, mentioning no names, what the outspoken Newcastle fans think of potentially being taken over by a Saudi Arabian. So I suspect many of them won't care where he's from, who he is, his background, or anything else. They just want investment in their club. They don't care. That's, I think, like a lot of football fans are very, very similar, which is fair enough. And then you got some of the journalists, and you get the two different aspects. One looking at human rights, and others looking at it as a positive for the city, for the club. And it's interesting to see some of them criticising the others. That was very interesting as well. And you got people like Barney Roney criticising people and talking about human rights when he went to Russia and wrote a book on it as well, about the World Cup in 2018. So Barney Roney went, happy to go to Russia, didn't boycott Russia because of all their human rights issues and what they've done. No, he's quite happy to go. Saudi Arabia come along, or Abu Dhabi come along, he's having a pop at them about what they do. But Barney, it doesn't. He was they're brown nosing with or brown nosing each other by the signs of it, with Barney. And look, and Nick Harris. I think Nick Harris. I saw him somewhere with brown nosing with Barney. And the funny thing is, when these guys get their backsides handed to them for whatever reason, whether it's hypocrisy, and it's very easy with a ton of these journalists for their hypocrisy. In Nick Harris's case, blatant lying. They just ignore it. They have very poor standards of low levels of integrity. I think it's disgusting what some of them do, and they just ignore it, just move on, because for them it's all about making money. And if you can ruffle a few feathers, if you have to lie a lot, and in effect be a racist sympathizer, which a lot of them are. If you're not going to, as far as I'm concerned, if you're not going to criticise your colleagues for their racist articles about black footballers, then you might, you're a racist sympathizer. You're sympathising with them, and that's the politest way I can put it. So, they're only interested in making money. Catherine, what do I think was the best performance this season? Game against United, Carabao Cup semi-final, first half, we blew them away. And in fact, that first 45 minutes got us through the tie, because they were better than us in the other 45 minutes. That first 45 minutes to get 3-0 up, we blew them away. And look, even the game against Real Madrid, that was a bit like that. But Man United, we absolutely smashed them out of the park. Faris, I used to have hope for Sané to stay, but now his agents come out, it really looked like he is saying that Sané's desperate. I don't think Sané, well, from what I read, it doesn't mean he's desperate. He's desperate for a massive payday. And I think that's it. City aren't going to pay him 400 grand a week. I've said that. Absolutely no chance. Whereas Bayern Munich are reported to be willing to pay that. And they're going to pay a huge, and I said it with Raheem as well, they're going to pay a huge signing on bonus. They'll be if Bayern Munich value him at 100 million quid, I guarantee they'll be happy to pay 50 million quid to him and his agent, because as far as they're concerned, they're getting a £100 million asset for 50 million quid. Quids in, absolutely quids in. So footballers do have a lot of clout. They do, they have a lot of power, a lot more power than people would imagine. Free transfers, James Milner going from City to Liverpool wasn't a free transfer. It was free from the point of view that Liverpool didn't have to pay a transfer fee to City for him, but he didn't go there for free. There'd have been some signing on bonus, signing on fee, and it could have been, 10 million quid, because as far as Liverpool are concerned, they're buying a £30 million asset, and they're getting him for free. So there'll be some money changing hands. Abdallah can't wait to see True Geordie. Well, we'll see whether he changes his tune. But he could he could be dishonest and lie about it, because controversy gets hits. Controversy gets views. People watch, listen, ring up, comment. So if he creates a bit more controversy, what if he comes out and says, I don't want to support Newcastle anymore? Yeah, because of what's going on and all these Arabs coming in and human rights. I'm not going to be a Newcastle fan anymore. I don't know how much of a football fan he was. Anyway, but he could turn around and say, I don't want to be a Newcastle fan. That would be controversial. He could, come out and be a hypocrite or whatever. That's controversial. Whatever. So if you're out to make money, you got to create a bit of a storm. Faris says, Pep said that he doesn't want to force any players to say. Yeah, he said that before, Faris, which is why I think that those comments about Cancelo surprised me, because it just looks extremely like what has been said a few months ago. And I'll be surprised if Pep's come out and said that. I will ask this fella. I'm going to find that article. That's what I'm going to go. I'm just going to search for it so I don't forget. And I'll ask if I can find the guy on Twitter. That's the only way, actually, that I can contact him, because I'm sure they won't answer the phone. Especially if I'd say who's calling. So, give me a sec, guys. I'm going to pull up this guy, so I don't forget to give him a call. Right. Oops. Let's just open. To be honest, they never reply, so it's just the way it is. I think, sadly. Tom Victor. Someone will try and find Tom on Twitter. WWE have released a lot of their wrestlers, billionaire company. Well, there you go, Abdallah. If they can't, I thought they were still fighting. I thought they still had something going on. I thought they were still going to have something in WWE. But it's all about making money, and you got to look at it. I mean, look at the. If you've got no income coming, my wife was asking me about the government scheme, the furlough scheme, and she was wondering what's going on. I said, well, the thing is, if you've got no money coming in, and you still got your expenses, you don't have a problem. We're talking about shops and restaurants and whatever, and gyms as well, because I think I've just cancelled my direct debit to the gym. And I said, the thing is, they might be able to take advantage of the government scheme to get the furlough the staff and get 80% of their wages up to 2,500 paid. But they've got no other income coming in. If you've got rent, if you've got rates, if you've got other things like insurance, you can't stop your insurance money going out. So you've got other expenses that will just keep on going out. If you've got no money coming in, how long can you sustain that? If the government come out and said, we're going to be in lockdown for 6 months, some companies would just say, right, that's it, I've gone. I'm not going to pay all this money out for 6 months. Others will look at it. If the government say it's going to be 2 months or 3 months, they'll stick it out. So, WWE to have fights behind closed doors. It's only obviously to get pay-per-view or whatever, sponsorship or advertising, whatever. But the bottom line is, companies are spending, money's going out, and if now it's coming back, and you don't know when it's going to come back. Some people, Premier League clubs, will keep going. You know, can you see a Premier League club turn around and say, well, it's not worth it. You know, we're going to have to go into administration, or and sometimes if it's tight, your future of the company is touch and go, and it's affecting your finances. If it's just your own business, you might say, "Oh, knock it on the head. I'll do something else." I can't see the Premier League football teams doing that, because they're worth a bit more than what the problems that they're going through right now. But it is a problem. So laying off your staff, it just seems. Look, Abdallah, look where they're going to go. It's only if they went to fight somewhere else. I think WWE can look at it from this viewpoint, is that they're the biggest draw. So when things start picking up again, they can start. Cirque du Soleil, I think they got rid of a lot of their performers. It's going to be the same thing. When things start again, they'll ask them to come back. And all that will happen is maybe they haven't paid them for 2 months to save money. And a lot of the artists, the wrestlers and the artists for Cirque du Soleil, I think a lot of them will come back because they'll have nothing else to do and nothing better. Who else out there can give the WWE stars the level of publicity and money that they're getting now? So where else can you go? They'll come back and take it on the chin. Who would I replace him? Talks about his winger from the Real Sociedad, 80 million, his buy clause. To be honest, Faris, I've stopped looking. I've stopped really looking. If something comes across my radar, then I'll put my nose in and have a look. We don't know if the football this season is going to finish and when. I do not expect us to come out of these measures until at least sometime in May, mid-May, when any relaxation starts to happen. But the second wave will hit. So once you relax, you've seen it in other countries, you'll have a second wave, and depending on how big that second wave is and how much of an impact it has, will determine whether you shut down or lock down again. Look at Singapore; they never really locked down, but they can see it increasing. So now they're locking down. Other countries are having issues as well. China, they almost eradicated it internally, and then as soon as you open the borders, people are bringing it back with them. So this is an issue. South Korea had, I think, some similar problems. Other countries have similar problems. As soon as you open your borders, people are coming back, or it's finding a way back, usually through people. So it's safe to play footy again. I just can't see it being. I can't see them trying. There'll come a point where they'll just have to say, let's call it a day. But obviously they're trying to keep it going. So I'm not really looked at other people that much anymore. I've stopped. Yeah, no fans is no good, Abdallah. Just colleagues, wrestlers, and Vince has furloughed his top tier staff. Well, there you go. So I think they're still trying to do something, because if they can do something, some money's coming in, and no one else is doing anything. You had people watching the Belarus football league because they were the only ones playing football. So you had people watching them, and no doubt they got some sort of darts going to go on. I'm not sure how they're doing these darts. It might be on Skype. So one guy's in his at home doing his darts, another guy's in his home doing the darts. I don't know how they're going to get the crowd noise in or whatever. They'll work something out. But whoever does it, people are going to watch, because there's nothing else out there. Why they're watching Belarusian football? Because there's nothing else to watch. So I expect whatever you put out there, people will watch. People want something to do, and that's probably, if you're a half decent YouTuber, you'll still get good numbers, because people are interested in you as well. If look what's happened to us. We've lost numbers because some of the numbers, obviously a lot of the numbers are coming from football, and without any football, some of those people are not interested. You lose a few because people are just not interested in anything. They're focused on this situation we're in, and on others, they want to watch the football and talk about the football, and without it drops down. So there's people who are interested in me, not many of you, and so other YouTubers, if you're good, you can see the good ones,
successful ones who are keeping up their decent level of numbers, and others are just falling by the wayside. Whether for whatever reason that is, for whatever reason. Right, guys, I think that's it. I think that's our lot for tonight. I hope it's been interesting. And no doubt we'll have more news tomorrow on the Newcastle takeover. Maybe some more details come out, and reaction from journalists and fans. I think generally the fans are behind it, but it'll be interesting to see what happens tomorrow. So, guys, take it easy. Thank you very much, Abdallah, Faris, Catherine, Angus, and everybody else. Duncan, Danny Tuami, who was first on. Everybody who's been on tonight. Thank you very much, and you guys have a safe evening. See you around, Blues.